Hello, my name is Yurexi Delgado, candidate number 6025, center number UX413, and this is my creative critical reflection. To start off, how does my media product use or challenge conventions? Well, first, I have to say that my media product is a short film. And my media product uses conventions by the film being about a teenage girl in high school. Very typical topic for a film. And it also shows conventions by the teenage girl running away. It's very typical for a teenage girl to be running away. It's a very typical topic to talk about. It uses conventions in a scene where it shows all the main characters' friends going to college. It's about a teenage girl, so she's gonna have teenage friends, and they go to college like mostly every teenager does. And my media product challenges conventions because the main idea of the film is abuse. Now, abuse is a taboo topic that most people don't really talk about and don't really like to watch, and they don't like to talk about it. Also, by having one song play throughout the entire film is not a normal thing for a film. Usually a film has a whole soundtrack, but we decided to just play one song throughout the whole film. Our film challenges conventions by being a little bit more graphic when it comes to the abuse scene. Typically, it's that the film sort of cuts out the abuse scene, but makes the audience assume that it was an abuse scene. But we decided to just show it right then and there, make it raw. So, how does my product represent social groups or issues? My film is about a high school girl, so this is going to represent a female teenager. The issue my film represents is abuse. The film is about a female teenager who is being abused by her parents in her home. The film is an overview of what a person who is being abused can feel. It can feel like every day is worse and worse, and it can feel like you're trapped and you can't leave. And it can also feel like you can't speak. In the film, the main character doesn't speak. The only part the main character speaks is when she's talking with her friends. But as soon as college is put into the conversation, she closes her mouth and she stops talking. So the film is supposed to show that the effects of abuse aren't just physical, but the effects are also mental. And also supposed to help the audiences that can relate to the main character and help them feel that they are not alone in it. So how does my product engage with audiences, and how would it be distributed as our media text? Our intended audience for the film is a matured audience, so this would include teenagers and young adults mostly, but it can also be for adults and elderly too. This film is not intended for children 12 or under. This is because the topic of abuse could be inappropriate for children, or because they might not have the matured mindset yet to be able to comprehend what's going on. And our film would be distributed by first social media. So we would make a social media account on Instagram and TikTok because, again, our audience is young adults and teenagers, and young adults and teenagers are mostly on Instagram and TikTok. So in these accounts, we would start by posting a poster. So a poster of the film, to start it off, give a little of a suspense to it, make the audiences want to be more intrigued in the film. And the poster wouldn't be too colorful, so it would mostly have grays and blues in it, just because we don't want our film to be presented as something that's comedic or unserious or something that's super happy, because the topic of abuse is a serious topic, and we wouldn't want it to also show that we're making fun of abuse too. So then we would post little teasers and trailers, and we would pay for it to be popped up in ads as our audiences are scrolling on TikTok or scrolling on Instagram. Again, the teasers and trailers would be serious, not dramatic. It would be something maybe a little suspenseful, but not too colorful, not too much of something that would be presented as unserious. So, how did my production skills develop through this project? Well, first, I was an actor in this film. I played the mother that abuses her daughter. It was difficult to do that role because it is completely opposite of my personality. So it did take me a couple tries to even fake hit the main character and drag her, because I did not like to do that. The main character, the actor, was my friend, so doing that was just really difficult for me. And I was also the director of the film. I think I'm good at being a director because I know if you give me an idea, I know how to be creative based off it. I can build something off the idea, and I can actually make it happen. The idea can become a reality, and it was shown through this film where a bunch of my team members came up with the ideas, and I was able to build off the idea and also be able to guide different characters into knowing what they had to do for a scene. For example, the abuse scene, I was able to guide the main character and say, hey, like, you have to go like this, or drag, like, kind of like slide on the floor like that, like throw yourself, let the abuser like throw you, okay, allow yourself to be thrown. Or in the main scene with the friends, they were able to I was able to explain to them that like how they were supposed to do this scene. Like, I was constantly telling them like laugh, talk, because we needed to show that they were friends, they interact with each other. So that is how I was able to be a director in this film. And also, I was a camera operator. Now, this is a little difficult because I am not a camera person. Like, a lot of people who are close to me know that I'm not a camera person. I am very shaky with the camera, so it was kind of odd that I was a camera person. But over time, throughout this film, my skills were able to progress, and I was able to actually hold a camera still. So, how did I integrate software, hardware, and online technologies in this project? Well, in the film, we used one of our team members' phones to film our short film. So one of my team members, Nikayla, has an iPhone 14, and we had to use that because first, it was our newest phone that all of us had. I had a 13, my other members had a 12 or an 11. So then we had to use hers, and there weren't cameras of actual handheld cameras available because in our school we weren't able to access them. And so we had to use Nikayla's iPhone 14. The film quality actually turned out pretty good for us for it to be an iPhone 14 because we thought that the camera quality was going to be affected, but it came out pretty good for it being a film like that. And for our editing app, we used InShot. One of our team members, Brooke, she did the whole editing process because she had it on her app, and she did it in 2 hours. She did it 2 hours by herself. She was able to do this really quickly. And so, what are the conventions of my chosen film? In our film, we used non-diegetic sound. So the song we used was Possibility by Likely. None of the characters in our film hear the song, so that's why it's non-diegetic. The film includes a protagonist, which is our main character, who is receiving the abuse. And the film also includes an antagonist, which would be the character in the film that abuses the main character. We used foreshadowing with our title. The title of our film is The Quiet Left Behind. And so the title is supposed to be a foreshadow of the little sister that is revealed at the end of the film. And I really like the title because I feel like it kind of helps to make our film make sense, and helps to make the end scene make sense. So when the audience first sees the title, they say, "The Quiet Left Behind." What does that mean? What does she leave behind? And so then we see at the end of the film, oh, she left behind her little sister, but her little sister wasn't present in the film until the end. So it shows how the little sister was the quiet one because she wasn't shown in the film till the end. So how will my target audience receive my media product? I believe my target audience will receive the media product as something impactful. That's what our intentions for the film to be. We want it to be something to create awareness for abuse. We want it to be something that shows how abuse can be. And this is because it can be happening to people you least expect. So we want our audiences to be impacted and aware that abuse is a real thing. I also want the audience to finish the film with curiosity and wanting to know more about the commonality of abuse. So our audience should leave the film and watch the film and finish and say, hey, like, I want to know more about this. Maybe I can find more signs. Maybe I can, to try to spread awareness and try to let them have a little passion to help those who are abused. And also our audience should leave more informed about abuse and what it can really look like. So, how does the film challenge or reinforce stereotypes? My film challenges stereotypes by the person abusing the main character being her mother. And it's not very typical for a woman to be violent like this in film, especially a mother. Usually a mother is somebody who is caring, and so the mother being the abuser is kind of breaking that stereotype or challenging that stereotype. Because the mother is typically the calmer one. Like, if a mother is abusing, it's typically like some sort of verbal abuse, but it's typically the father who is abusing the child. So for it to be a mother, it's kind of challenging that stereotype. But we decided to, again, challenge the stereotype and make the mother the abused character. The main character challenged the stereotype of a typical teenager, because a typical teenager in a movie is usually popular. Like, if you watch different movies about teenagers, it's typically about a teenager who is popular, who wears all these beautiful clothes, and they go to school and they go to parties and they go wow, and they go with their friends and they do typical teenager stuff like that. But the main character in our film is very isolated, and even with her friends she is very isolated, and she's only seen in 2 locations, at home and at school. That's not typical for a teenager. It's usually a teenager going out or going to some sort of sporting event, something that teenagers would do, but the teenager is seen going from school to home. And our film reinforces stereotypes when it comes to the clothing of our main character and the makeup. The clothes of our main character is very typical for a teenager. The clothes are young, they're not too mature, Our character is wearing a shirt with strawberries on it and some sweatpants. She's not wearing a whole suit to school. And so it's supposed to be more young, more, give her a younger look. And the clothes are colorful, at the beginning at least. The clothes get colorful, like as you see in the getting ready scene. She's wearing a green shirt, a green colorful interesting top. So that's very typical for a teenager. She's not wearing anything super fancy or anything, but she is just wearing something colorful. And obviously at the end it turns more into blacks when the character's mental health is at its lowest. But also, even when she's doing that, she's wearing hoodies and sweats, which is something that, again, a teenager would do when they're at their lowest mentally. And the makeup is not very heavy makeup. Remember, it's a teenager, so it's somebody who is wearing light makeup and who is not trying super crazy eye makeup or super crazy lip makeup. No, it's very much like mascara, some concealer, and maybe some lip gloss, but that's really it. And also, by our teenager, in some scenes we see our teenager putting in headphones or wearing headphones. So we see that that kind of reinforces stereotypes, because that's very typical for a teenager to be wearing her headphones. And how did my media product use different media codes and conventions? Well, in our film, the first scene is what my team likes to call the getting ready / abuse scene. In that scene, we cut back and forth from the character getting ready for school, and the character getting abused. And so, in our film, the first scene, in that shot, in the abuse shots, we put it black and white, so that way it kind of shows she's remembering, it's a flashback, and that's what we intend for the audience to comprehend from that. I'd also like to mention again that our film has non-diegetic sound. The music is playing the whole time, but none of the characters hear the music. And the second scene is called the friend scene, is what we like to call it, where the character is talking with her friends, and then she feels isolated because her friends pull out college pamphlets, and she feels like she doesn't have that opportunity. So we decided to put a blue hue over that, and that blue hue stays throughout the whole film to show that the blue hue typically shows that like the film is getting darker, like there's something wrong, like it's not happy, like it's something dark going on. And so it kind of makes the film more melancholy. So how does the film use different media forms? So first, my media product is a film. It's a short film. And I would also say it's a digital media because it can be consumed and distributed and produced. So it's a digital media. I would also say you could take it and you could post it on social media because it's a short film. So it's not too long and for it to be posted on Instagram or TikTok or something. And so it could be a form of social media if we wanted to distribute it that way. And this is my creative critical reflection. So thank you for watching.